Usually if we have both of them involved at the same time, we don't present individually because we spend a lot of time talking to them. The other person comes and pulls the other person away. We try to present together as much as possible. But if there's energy like this, one yes and the other no, usually the person who is saying no, that's when those are the people who pull them away, the mantra effect, that they just pull away. But as much as possible, try to present them together.
Okay, mine was even different from that. Whenever I approach a group, two or more, and I notice the most negative one, I can tell the one that's going to try to spoil it for everybody, that's where I give my full attention until they're neutralized. Because a lot of times they're either envious that the other person's being controlled and they were controlling them before I got there. And then there's also just, they want to be negative, they're contrarian. So if I give them my full attention and start talking to them, they sort of neutralize. And then I can go back to the other ones and they're okay. Because you can see the group dynamic.
Thank you. Thanks. Hare Krishna. I like the point on we're sowing seeds because oftentimes it can be quite intimidating to come and distribute Bhagavatams, but then when you think we're going to sow seeds, it's very practical, it's very encouraging for us to go out. My question, and I apologize for asking this question, but it's a bit of a devil's advocate. Like you're from ISV, New York, Toronto. These are high population, cosmopolitan areas where people are high cost of living, they can spend the money. But when we go outside of Toronto, because I travel across Canada, there's lower population, people are a little more conservative. We just don't have the same spaces where we find people of these different, South Asian backgrounds. So how do we sort of deal with that in terms of the Bhagavatam sets?
You want to say? Well, we find that around the world. For instance, we're regularly in touch with New Zealand, Australia, especially New Zealand. It's very white, and it's low density population. But per capita, they're chugging right along, using the same principles. Put the table up, make friends with people, select the ones who are already open. And the main point is their attitude, that it can be done. And just giving them as an example, but there's plenty of other places. In Italy, we're just in Italy, there's very few Indians. Sometimes they're Indians, but they're not IT. And then it's a very different demographic altogether. And the principle still holds, that if you go out, you present, the ripe fruits are going to come along. They have plenty of pictures and scores to show it in many of these European countries and also New Zealand and so forth, that people will take, and they have no choice but to present to them. So it kind of makes it easier. They don't get, they don't have a dichotomy, no cognitive dissonance about should I talk to this one or that one. They just present.
So sometimes donation can be a challenge in those places, but if you have some sponsored sets in your temple, because a lot of devotees sponsor for someone, and even if they're not able to pay in full, you can still offer them for a price that they can give, and the rest can be come through donations. So we found there's a lot of people are really interested in spiritual knowledge, but they may not be able to afford to pay all of it right away, or maybe they cannot pay full amount. So this can be compensated a little bit with the sponsored sets.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Malati Mataji and Anatam Prabhuji. Thank you for a wonderful session. I have a little question. Might not be about how to distribute Bhagavatam, but other books in general. Could I seek guidance on this? Where in the seminar you mentioned that we should look for ripe fruits and use local language to connect to individuals when we're distributing books. And sometimes I find that people seem to be favorable. They say that they're devotees of Lord Vishnu, but when you have a conversation with them, they end up becoming argumentative. They start saying Veda Vyasa's philosophy is incorrect, Valmiki's teaching is incorrect. So how do I speak to these individuals trying to distribute Prabhupada's books, but you already know that they're trying to bring up their philosophy, prove that they're right, and I'm a neophyte, so I don't have the strong background to argue against them. And they speak my local language, so others don't understand what they're saying. So how do I deal with this? I've dealt with this a couple of times, and it's usually like the individuals are Prabhuji. So I think he's probably trying to use his knowledge and his experience, thinking that I'm vulnerable, I'm younger, so he can defeat my philosophy. But how do I distribute? Because we want to have a good impression, but we also want to be strong in our beliefs that our teaching is correct. Because we don't want them to step away thinking, oh, they want this argument, that their teaching is correct as well, because that's also like us not having faith in our teachings that we're learning from Prabhupada. So could you please guide me on this? How do I deal with situations like this? Thank you.
Go right ahead, both of you.
The trick to dealing with a know-it-all that I've seen is to let them be a know-it-all. And if they truly know it all, then they know that they should give a donation too. Give a book, take a book. So you kind of let them lead themselves into the sale in that way. Because as soon as you start arguing with them, then it's all over, because then it's you versus them, and they already think that they know better than you, so then it's finished from the beginning. But if you kind of glorify them and think, you know all this, you know that, you know this, you know you should give a donation for the temple, they're like, yeah, I do know that too, yeah, here you go. So go with the flow. Don't resist. Be like water and just let it flow into the successful sale.
I don't know if you heard the presentation that Vaisheshika Prabhu gave about how to distribute Bhagavad Gita to an Indian. This part covers it. And he starts with the point saying that, I know you already know this. Your mother has memorized the Bhagavad Gita. Your grandmother has done this. So you already know this. So we are not presenting anything to them. But we say we're doing a fundraiser. And we are trying to print Bhagavad Gita in as many languages as possible around the world. So would you like to make a donation for the fundraiser? And you start with that and then get the donation and give Bhagavad Gita or other books as a gift.
The premise you brought up about how we can't let them walk away with the upper hand philosophically. I think you can take one or the other when you're out on book distribution. We're not there to stand on the corner and defeat people on Vyasadev's philosophy. Prabhupada writes in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita in one of his purports, he said, actually in this age nobody has any philosophy. Even people who think they do, they don't know what they're talking about. So the principle is honor the objection. The simple principle. They bring an objection, you go, wow, that's a really good objection. And as soon as you do that, it's like Aikido, where somebody comes with their energy, not that I know any martial arts, comes in and the energy is deflected rather than you bash into it. So if somebody says, you know, I'm a Buddhist, and it's like, fantastic. If we had more Buddhists in the world, it'd be a better place to live. And whatever they have, you know, just keep bringing it back to appreciation of their objection. And I love the way Anupam had mentioned that you can walk them right into taking the Bhagavatam set or giving a donation and so forth. And I'll just re-emphasize what Malini said about the way in which I present Bhagavad Gita, not Srimad Bhagavatam, that's a different thing. For Indians is don't let them touch anything. Keep it really far away from them, because as soon as you give them a card, as soon as you give them a flyer, what to speak of the book, which they won't even take because I know it, I know it, I know it, then it's all finished. So you have to emphasize 5, 10 times. Even as I'm saying it, this is not for you, it's not for you, you already know this. You know more than I do. I just blatantly say these things over and over again, and they're still going like, wait a minute, I know this, I know this. it's a visceral reaction they have because they feel really guilty that they don't know it. And it's a tacit understanding that if you're giving me the Bhagavad Gita, and it's American especially, then it's like, you know, you blew it, man. I mean, you're out of the Sampradaya right now. So if you give them that chance to just appreciate them, their family, their ancestry, everybody already knows Bhagavad Gita, then they're very likely to give. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I'm really honored to be here today and enjoy the lovely presentation. My question is that many times while distributing books, like even for Bhagavad Gita, many people say that we already know, like Maharaj said, that we honor that thing, but they say that what is the point of taking a book and keeping it, because we will not be reading them, it will be just part of a showcase and it will just, the dust will take over it. So what is the point? Even if they give donation, that we acknowledge, because I have personally experienced that, but this thing they said that what is the point, because it will be just in the display.
You want to answer? Actually, I love it when people say that. They'll say, you know, I won't read it. I say, oh, that's the best part. You don't have to. I say, you know, there's a science called Vastu. And they go, yeah. And I say, Vastu tells us that every object in our purview has an effect on our lives. I said, do you know where good fortune comes from? You know, whatever their answer is. Well, it doesn't come from working harder. It comes from grace. And the way you invite grace into your home is having a sacred object in your house. So when you place this in your house, it attracts good fortune. And sometimes people go, I don't believe that. And I go, that's the best part. Even if you don't believe it, it works. And so it's that thing of honoring the objection. Like, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, whatever it is, that's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly the way it is. I had this lady, I was at the airport once, and you know, she was just blasé. She didn't know anything from anything, didn't care. I said, give a donation. And she said, yeah, I won't read it. I said the whole thing. And she goes, oh, all right. And she gave me $5 and she left. And about a half hour later, she came back. I was already talking to somebody else. She's holding up the book and she goes, it's working. I said, what happened? And she goes, they gave me an upgrade for no reason. That's a true story. So you go into an elaborate thing and tell them all these details about what the book's going to do when it sits there, how it will attract good fortune and things like that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this is practical. Something happened on book distribution. There was one Indian gentleman who came and who we showed him the Bhagavad Gita, and then he was, I mean, he was okay to take it, but he was not so much into it. He took the Bhagavad Gita, he gave a very little donation, and he went and sat in his car, he just put it on the dashboard. Little far he went, he met with an accident. And even though his car was completely gone, he was not hurt, and neither was the Bhagavad Gita. So he was all like, his clothes were torn a little bit. He left his car there. He came with the Bhagavad Gita running to the table, and then he just fell flat and said, this book saved me. And then he gave more donation, and he said, if it was not for this book, I would have not been alive. So, I mean, it brings auspiciousness.
One, two.
Hare Krishna, and thank you so much, Vaisheshika Prabhu, Anupam Prabhu, and Madhuri Malini for sharing your experiences and really valuable. I have a kind of follow-up question to what Vaisheshika Prabhu said about people of other beliefs, religions, and Madhuri Malini before made a beautiful point about presenting Bhagavatam, and you mentioned that presenting Bhagavatam and asking for donation is already success if people listen to you, even if they don't take it. What if people listen to your presentation and of books, asking good questions and really interested, show interest, and then they ask, okay, but at the end, when you ask for donations, they say, well, I'm concerned because all you say makes sense about karma. I already know it, and it sounds like all makes sense. But you know, I'm of another religion. I'm I don't know, Muslim, Christian, Orthodox, and you say, the Krishna topic confuses them. They say, who is God? Says it's Krishna is God, but it's as they say, Krishna is for Hindus, and it creates. So everything makes sense for them, except if they are somehow afraid of Krishna, how to deal with it. Maybe you have some experiences to share.
You too.
I generally don't let it get to that point. I just keep it as broad and as simple and open and universal as possible, and answer their questions in a kind of universal way. And they'll see how Krishna works with them once they receive the book. There's one person who got a SSR at a Subway one time, and he put it on the shelf after reading a little bit of it, and then John V. Harrison came out with this album with Willow Smith. He started listening to it, and he recalled later on that when he heard that music, he realized that Krishna was the form of the divine that he wanted to worship, whereas previously he was more agnostic. But because he had that book, which he didn't even know, so much about, he started reading it, and he could see how if he really wanted to make advancement, he needed association. He needed a kind of spiritual friend or mentor. So then one fateful night, he sent up a prayer to Krishna. He said, Krishna, I'm starting to believe in you, but if you're real, then send me a friend. Send me a spiritual friend or a spiritual guide. And this was during COVID. And then the next day was the first day that my wife and I decided to go back out on the street to do book distribution in like the height of COVID. And he's from New Jersey. For whatever reason, he decided to drive into New York City. And he drives up to Washington Square Park. There's tons of parking because everybody's fled the city at this point, except for him and us. And so then he sees across the park meditation books sign. He comes up and he sees the exact book that a couple weeks prior he didn't know really anything about because the devotee had distributed to him didn't get into the details. But he had started reading it after some inspiration that came to him. Saw it there on the table, and he said, oh, is this about Krishna? And I said, yeah, is that okay? And he said, okay, it's exactly what I'm looking for. I said, it's what you're looking for. And so, lo and behold, he started reading together, and he became a devotee from that. And so I think there's a power in keeping it very broad, in general, as much as possible. Again, anything you mention, even about karma or reincarnation, it could be the little hook that prevents them from moving forward. But if you keep it broad and just speak to them personally about what you know they are probably interested in, you'll see that you're more effective in the distribution.
Thank you so much, Anupam Prabhu. Maybe just a quick follow-up question. You mentioned try to keep it broad, but what if people ask directly, is it theistic? And if so, who is God? How do you deal with it?
There's always a way to put it that's somewhat non-committal without lying to them at the same time. Like if someone asks if this is a Christian book, you could say, yes, it's about how to love God and how to give your entire life to God, like how Jesus expressed. You could talk about how it mentions a lot about Lord Jesus Christ. You could show them SSR, page 115, it talks about Christ and Krishna and how the two are related. But if someone's a fanatic, then it's probably not going to go anywhere. If someone's a kind of Bible-thumping Christian, then it's best to just try to leave them with a favorable impression and let Krishna take care of it from there. That's my experience.
I resonate with the last answer that you gave, especially because you save a lot of time by being more selective. And if you feel intimidated by going out and having to perform, then let people come to you more. And there's a scale. When you develop more repertoire, you can deal with people who are a little more conservative or difficult to deal with. But if you want to keep it easy, then slough people off very easily. Let them just float away. One of the ways to break away from people that I use is If I hear fanaticism coming, like they have an agenda and they want to place it at my doorstep right now, I just say, if there were more people like you in the world, it would be a better place to live. It's people of faith like you that are keeping the world alive. And the other day I was with a bunch of kids. I took out the Gurukuls in London, and we were going door to door. And the first door we went to, the guy, he was probably 60 or something like that. And he goes, "Oh no, we're Christians." And I said that very thing. And his defenses dropped. And then he saw the kids, and he took a book. He said, "Well, I should know more about this anyway," because it had reduced his resistance, and he was open to investigating because we weren't trying to push it on him. And other times when people start to wind up, they're winding up, ready to give you their whole pitch, and then I do that thing, then it bewilders them because they were ready for a fight. And when you're totally back off of it, then the energy's out of it. It's no fun for them anymore. And then you're free. There was one other question here.
Hare Krishna, everyone. In the mic? Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Jitin, and I rather have experience or a reflection to share rather than asking a question. So I come from the consulting background, and we have been.
You have to hold that.
I come from the consulting background, and we have been taught about the storytelling. So when I really go for a book distribution, I try to follow the same principle, right? So the storytelling basically starts with a character. So you have a character who has a problem, right? Who just lost in this world, right? And he meets the guide. The guide shows him the transition path and take to the end result, right? Which is a happy outcome. So that's what I try to do when I meet someone and I need to donate the book or distribute the book. So I use the terminology distribute the book or donate the book rather than using the term selling the book, right? Because that's not what we are doing. We are distributing the books, right? And I tell him, I listen to his problem, I show him the path that how Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam can really help him, and then show him the happy path. And that's really my distribution point to the devotees. So the thought came to my mind, I just thought of sharing with everyone. Thank you.
Rahul.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much once again for hosting this Light of Bhagavata. The question that I have is actually the differentiation between ripened and unripened fruit, and how not to waste time with unripened fruit, because that is something which I usually come across when I'm standing there talking to people, and I realize that no, now this is going nowhere and it won't go anywhere. But how to then stop that conversation and not waste more time and put into right place? That is.
You all go first.
I think Prabhu touched upon it a little bit, but if you really want to get away from someone whose discussion is going on too long, you can do the phone call trick that somebody is calling. Oh, I have to take this call. Hare Krishna, and you just walk away from there, because as you rightly said, your investment of time for that person may not be fruitful. So you can just walk away after. If you have tried all of the things that Prabhu already said, if it doesn't work, then you can just do this and walk away from that.
Yeah, I think in general, book distribution should be less of a full-on presentation and more of like an elevator pitch. We want to present it in the most effective way, showing the most value as possible in as little time as possible. And people who need a bit more time, then we can give it to them. But we'll see those people. Those people will be distinct from those who are just ready to get out of the conversation. So generally, after we provide the value, we show how it will help them. We qualify it by talking about who's read it in the past. you can kind of get a sense if the person is interested or not. But generally, whether a person is ripe or unripe, the presentation itself shouldn't take too long.
I resonated with what you said earlier about being very genuine and vulnerable. As if you focus on trying to do everything right, then you probably won't. But if you just be yourself and express yourself very clearly, then oftentimes it's a more natural exchange. For instance, someone going on talking, just tell them what's on your mind and say, are you interested in this? Or is this something that you want to take? It's not that you're balancing whether you should say it or not. If you feel that urge, just be straightforward and tell people. And I find the more straightforward you are when you go out and don't depend on a set number of lines or whatever it is, although that sounds contradictory because I teach a template, but it's a scale that you can then deviate from later. But I find personally, the more natural I am and very straightforward with people, the more they appreciate it and the less intimidated I feel as far as whether the person's interested or not. I just ask them. You can also then cut to the chase also, which is that it's for a donation, because that's where the proverbial rubber meets the road, is when you bring up the donation part, and then you can see if the book comes flying right back. It's like, oh yeah, no, I gotta go. That kind of ends it, and it's like, anyway, don't sell them, it's only for donation, give something. Then, and a lot of times you'd be surprised, because we've had a story. I was with my friend Bhagavata, and we were talking to this guy. He was from Taiwan, I think. And we were working together behind a booth. And so this guy was going on and on and on, asking all these questions. So he was talking to Bhagavata. And I was starting to vibe Bhagavata, like, come on, move on. Shut this down. And Bhagavata just goes, okay, he goes, sir, I got to go. We're doing important work here, and, we got to stop. And the guy goes, oh, I'm sorry. He takes his briefcase out. He puts $10,000 in cash on the table. And then he goes, it took the book, put it in there, and walked away. And we were looking at each other like, what just happened? So don't worry about closing a sale at the end if you're wondering, because really it's up to Krishna, and if the person was going to give, they'll give anyway, and if they weren't going to give, that kind of shuts the thing down and like, no, I don't want it, see you later, that kind of thing.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mataji. I actually have two questions related to book distribution in general. My first question, I'm an amateur book distributor. I don't do a lot, but I do think about what people do. Like, let's say they give a donation just because we're there, and we give a book because that's what we do. I worry about the book afterwards because I have seen places where the book was left in a porta potty, and then it was left on a windowsill or something like that. What do we do? How do we approach book distribution with that worry?
So we're laughing because we're both thinking of the same anecdotes. You'd start. Well, I'll say after you. You say that, and I have something I know you're not going to say, so go ahead.
Even if the book even if ends up in places where you don't want it, we have seen devotees picking up Bhagavad Gitas from trash cans and becoming devotees. So book never goes waste. It always ends up in the right place. Sometimes they don't read it, but their grandmother picks it up, or their uncle or some niece or somebody picks up that book, and the book never go waste. And there's also, I think, one story of a devotee kid who had Bhagavatam in their home for many years. Every day, up and down the stairs, he would see the Bhagavatam, all the cantos, never read it. It's there on the shelf for a long time. And then that kid ends up with an accident or something in the hospital.
Overdose on drugs.
Overdose on drugs is in the hospital. And he had an out-of-body experience when his soul almost left the body. But he remembered one of the cover pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, which he used to see up and down the stairs. And then as soon as he saw that, he actually came back. And after he got well, first thing he went was to that bookshelf to take out the book and start reading it. So it's not that, even if the book stays on their windowsill, wherever it is, that has an effect inside.
And Mitra Sena told me the story. I put it in my book. He was on the viewpoint right past the Golden Gate Bridge. We used to distribute books there. And he met some guy, and it used to be a sport back in the 70s, 80s. People knew Hare Krishna sold books, so they do this thing. They come up and act interested, and then either they just keep it and think, thanks, or they give like a penny or something like that and say, thanks. And so this guy named Melvin, he approached Mitra Sena. Mitra Sena sold him the book. And the guy said, but first, before I give anything, you sign it for me. Put your name in it, and my name too. So he put to Melvin from Mitra, and he gave back to him, and he gave a penny and said, thanks. And so then Mitra went on with his day. And a day later, he was in the temple, and the temple president, Charu, called him and said, there's somebody here. His name is Melvin. He wants to talk to you. So he thought, oh, the Melvin guy came back. So he went out there. It was a different Melvin. So the first Melvin took the book. He went across the Golden Gate Bridge. He was in Chinatown, and he just left it on the stoop of a Chinese shop. And another guy named Melvin was walking down the street. He saw the book, and he thought, I wonder what it's doing there. He picked it up and said, to Melvin from Mitra. He found the address of the temple in Berkeley, which is across the bay. And he went there the next day and says, I got to talk to Mitra because this book was meant for me. And Mitra came out, and then the whole thing came together, what had happened. Now, Prabhupada even says, and I put the quote in there, he said, when you sell a book, it may not be for that person, it may be for someone else. And who knows? It's a message in a bottle. It can float for 100 years from London to California, and somebody picks it up. It's Krishna's arrangement.
Yeah, I remember hearing a class by Tamal Krishna Maharaj years ago where he talked about how every single book has somebody's name on it already, just a matter of time before it hits that person. There's one friend of mine who his mother had somehow or other received signs of self-realization at some point in her life, and it was just there on the shelf for years and years and years. And then one day when he became a bit inquisitive about spiritual life, he finally noticed that book and picked it up. And he started reading it, and he was so inspired, he read it all throughout the night. And in the morning, he looked up where the closest temple was, and he went to Mangal Arti. And he became a devotee. And the rest is history.
We have 2 minutes left, right?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna Prabhu Mataji. So thank you so much for those insightful, informations. And as you mentioned, elevator pitch. I was just trying to, understand from all of you, all these experiences, because you have experience since so many years. So if you can give us the maybe pitch initial, because that's very, very important, like opening lines, or maybe, how to start the conversation and how to take it to the final closer, which is the ultimate goal to, give that book to someone. So maybe if you can just give us like 2 minutes, the starting pitch kind of thing, that will definitely help to, get more flavors for Indian, people, or maybe Western people, all of the people whomever we are interacting with. Yeah.
Hey, boss, I like your energy. That's next. That's what's coming up next. This was just an informal question and answer thing, but the real formal thing about what to say, how to ask for donation thing, they'll be doing next.
Okay.
Finite, fine, orimashita, hogya, terminado. Huh?
Thank you so much. I can see that we're just getting started. The the whole thing is, we're just starting to churn now and nice things are coming out. It's really valuable, and I think experiences like this, hearing from devotees who have so much experience, it really empowers us. Don't you all agree? So please hold on to your questions, because we will have more opportunity tomorrow morning when we start with our last session to further ask your questions. Of course, after today's experience, you may have more questions, more realizations to share. So please hold on to it. Please write them down if you don't want to, if you think you may forget. Now we're going to have a demonstration by Malini Mataji and Anupam Prabhu on how they actually distribute a set. After that, we're going to divide everybody into groups, and you will get a chance to practice distributing a set yourself. Okay? So, is this setup okay? Malini Mataji and Anupam, this is your book table. That's okay? Right. We have a special gift for everybody, a tool that will empower you as you go out. So please stay, make sure, while you're staying, make sure you grab it from me before we head out, okay? Thank you. Okay.
Okay, cool. I love that. Which way?
You could maybe start over there and I'll flag you down. So the table is great because you got some people who are just going to come to the table because they see what's going on, they're kind of interested in it, see it's something maybe spiritual, maybe about meditation, so they'll come over. But then you also get a lot of people who maybe wouldn't have stopped initially, but they have some inclination towards spirituality, and so you can kind of flag them down and get them involved. And so here's an example of somebody who we're going to flag down. So we want to match the vibe. I see this is a big guy coming my way, so I need to kind of get big myself, you know, a little bit too. Kind of get in front a little bit. The whole idea is you want to have like almost an explosion of energy, not in like an artificial way, but you want to feel like this is happening now. You know, the person should feel like this isn't someone who's just like, you know, maybe gonna talk to me or not. This is an old friend. You should feel like you're seeing someone who you used to be best friends with and you just haven't seen him in a long time. Because that's what we all are. We're all brothers and sisters from the spiritual realm. And so I'm just seeing my old friend here again. What's going on, boss? How you doing?
Hello, what's up?
Great to see you.
Yeah.
You into meditation at all?
You know, I do a little here and there.
I can tell by looking at you. You look like a spiritual guy.
Oh, really? How do you know that?
There's just something about you. You have this aura, you know, this vibe. I don't know. Energy is just fantastic. You must have some secret. Tell me what's your secret?
I guess I do what other people don't. I eat just vegetables.
Vegetables, wow! I could tell by looking at you. You might be the healthiest guy I've seen all day. Well, you're truly a specimen.
Well, you know I try here.
Thank you. So I'll show you really quick. This is the original spiritual wisdom of India. So you've heard of guys like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, the Beatles, Einstein, Tupac. So they all were into meditation wisdom just like this. It helped them become more effective in their lives and leave a big impact. You know, it talks about different things like meditation, yoga, and how to get free from stress. You heard of stress before?
Yeah, I think I heard of that, yeah.
You don't look stressed though. You look very peaceful, I would
really?
say.
Wow.
In fact, you look almost ecstatic, I would say.
Whoa, ecstatic, thanks.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah, nice. So this is ancient wisdom, and it's not just that I wrote it. It's actually compiled thousands of years ago. It's written in ancient language called Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, what is that?
Sanskrit is the oldest language in the world, actually.
Oh, isn't this like Buddhism?
It's similar to Buddhism, exactly. Are you into Buddhism?
I know a little thing, you know. I know the Buddha, you know, the laughing, the smiling Buddha.
Smiling Buddha.
Like you go to like, you know, nail salons. They have that. That's the Buddha, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So everybody who knows about nail salon Buddha, they take these books usually.
Oh, okay.
So you're in
cool.
great company.
Oh, perfect.
So the books themselves, it looks like a lot. You'll see if you dig into it, it's like a spiritual poetry book. You'll see that there are verses, which I could show you if one of them were open. But
yeah, I think this one.
Yeah.
How come it's wrapped inside?
because it's so valuable.
Oh, wow.
It's actually so valuable that we don't sell them. We say they're too valuable to sell. So
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, this definitely cost me a pretty penny.
Yeah, well, they're too valuable to sell, so people just give a donation.
A donation,
What you
okay.
can from the heart. But I'll show you really quick. You have the Sanskrit there. You have a word-to-word English to Sanskrit translation. Then the actual verse, which is like a poetry verse. And it talks about how to attain love.
Love.
And how to be the best version of yourself.
Okay, wow, that's pretty interesting.
You look like you're already a pretty good version of yourself, though, I'd say.
I don't know.
But this will take you to the next level.
All right.
No doubt. So, like I said, we don't sell the books like in a store. People give a donation. It costs us about $200, $250 to print. So anything you give above that is a donation.
All right.
So,
but I just have, I don't have cash.
you don't have cash. That's great. We don't take cash. We say it's bad for the environment.
Oh, okay.
So you can tap on your phone to pay.
Okay,
so
yeah.
you just tell me how much you want to give, and then we'll punch it in here, and you could tap your card.
Yeah, sure.
$1,008. Let the record reflect. You're doing it 1,008. And a coconut water. Wow, a half empty coconut water is here. Thank you, Babu. So yes, you can take this set with you. If it's too much for you to carry, we could always ship it to you as well.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
But you look like you could probably handle taking home this set.
Yeah,
You're a pretty strong guy.
Does it come in a box? Do I have to take like all?
Yeah, we'll give you the box too, free of charge.
Oh,
we'll
wow.
include the box.
Nice.
So, thank you, Mama Chibabu. Congratulations on the Bhagavatam set. Are there any quick questions from that little presentation? That was kind of an overview. You can kind of pick from that, see what you like. But again, the main idea, yes, Babu, go ahead.
Excellent presentation. What if someone says it's too overwhelming, it's too many books? I was just looking for, one or two maybe.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say there's a lot of different ways you could attack that one. But there was one time someone said, he was into Buddhism. You really have to kind of feel the person out. So there was one time that somebody said that they had just read Siddhartha. And we had presented the Bhagavatam to them. And they said, that's a little too much for me to handle. It's a little too austere for me to take back. I said, but Siddhartha, the Buddha, that whole book, it's about how he performed these austerities to attain this higher level of consciousness. So he was going to the caves and the mountains and the forest to do all those things. All you have to do is take this set. So you can speak to them on a personal level. But if they're really vehemently against taking all of this, then we also have e-Bhagavatam sets that work as well. And those are as light as your phone is, and they're a little cheaper as well. But that's a good way to go if someone really isn't against doesn't want to take this set. If it's too much, they don't have space, then you could always pitch the e-set to them. So, yes, Shuru.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I'm picturing right away, like if somebody approached myself with this, it's all good, nice, but to pay at the spot 350 Canadian dollars, for me it's definitely no.
Yeah.
And that is the problem for many people. So I was sort of expecting if Prabhu could say, oh no, it's too much.
Yeah.
I'm interested, but it's too much. So what do we do in this case? Like, I mean, it's too costly to just give it, let's say, for $100, right, for example. But at the same time, the set really does have value, and we all know, maybe, I don't know, that's the
Yeah, there
comment.
will be a lot of people like that for sure, but you'll see Krishna will send people who are willing to give more. So we don't want to get too pushy in terms of the price, but you'll often see that when you do give some price, there is often a little bit of a bargain that happens. So if you say, oh, it costs us $250, they might say, how about $150? And you could say $200. They say, okay, so you can kind of meet in the middle, something like that. And this is all in USD, so obviously Canadian will be a little bit different. But we'll see when we set that standard, we kind of shoot high for the moon, and we sort of land amongst the stars in terms of the amount that we actually receive from them. So go a little bit higher, and then you could work your way down to a number that's comfortable for the both of you. For sure. Thank you, Prabhu. I think maybe we should move on.
And we also have installments.
It's on now.
Hare Krishna. We also have an option of installment payments if they really want to give, but at the moment they can. So, okay. Now we will do for Indian audience or more familiar audience, and there is a gentleman walking by at the store. Hello, Hare Krishna. I'm Malini. I'm from ISKCON Temple in San Jose. Where are you from?
I am from Karnataka.
Oh, Karnataka. Oh, wow, you're from India. Wow. So you heard about Madhvacharya?
I've heard of him.
Really? What does your family worship Madhvacharya in general?
My family does.
Oh, wow. You look very spiritual. It feels like you come from a very respectable family, very cultured family. Yeah.
Trying my best.
Today, I'm doing a special project to save and preserve the Vedas. As part of this, we are showing the Srimad Bhagavatam. You heard about Bhagavatam, right?
But it's like I'm clean, you know, I just ate something and not possible.
Well, you don't have to worry about Srimad Bhagavatam. You can take this one.
Oh, that one's okay.
Srimad Bhagavatam, actually, there are no rules and regulations for Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, if possible, you can wash your hands. But whichever scripture directly talks about Krishna, there are no rules and regulations for it, except for to save in your home and to read it. Yeah. Well, we are doing a special project. We wanted to distribute at least 100,008 of these Bhagavatam sets all over the world by September. And you understand the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Let me show you something. Okay. If you see inside, this is the essence of all the Vedas. You heard about Vyasadeva? Yeah, Veda Vyas. He wrote all the Vedas. He wrote the Puranas, Itihasas, Samhitas, Mahabharata. Have you read any of those?
My family knows.
Yeah, I can see. I can see. But this is Srimad Bhagavatam. After writing all the books, Vyasadeva was dissatisfied. So he went and asked his guru, Narada Muni, you know, after writing all this, my incarnation is supposed to write books, but I'm very dissatisfied. So then Narada Muni said, the reason you're dissatisfied because you wrote everything which tells you indirectly about Supreme Absolute Truth. But you know, this is Kali Yuga. It's very hard to decipher the Vedas. So Vyasadeva asked him, Narada Muni asked him to write something directly about the Absolute Truth. That's when the last book that Vyasadeva compiled is Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's the essence of all the Vedas. If you ever wanted to know what was in the Vedas, it's here. And if you see the paper it has been printed, it's supposed to last for 500 years. So 5 generations can make use of this book.
My family has so many books already.
Well, this is special.
Oh, it's a special book.
And also, it's good that your family has those books, which means you're coming from a collector's family. Everybody collects spiritual books. The more you have, the better it is. Actually, I have Bhagavatam, one in every room. I have one in my living room, one in my kitchen. I have one in every room. Actually, it brings auspiciousness to the house. You know, Vastu, spiritual Vastu? Any object carries a certain kind of energy. And when you have Srimad Bhagavatam in your house, all the 33 crore devatas, they come and worship your house. So it's very auspicious just to have Bhagavatam in your house. And today, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to preserve this Vedic knowledge, the Sanatana Dharma. We are not selling them, but we just ask for a donation to help preserve this Vedic knowledge. So it's not just one book, it comes as a set.
Oh. Whole thing?
Yes, the whole thing.
My apartment's too small. It's like a lot of space.
Right. Actually, if you see, the books look so big, but it just fits in one shelf. It just goes in one shelf only. And the reason, it was originally only one book that Vyasadeva wrote, but for people like us to understand, there is a commentary. If you see, the commentary inside here see, this is the verse that written by Vyasadeva originally. There is a word-to-word meaning, translation, and there is purport. This purport is actually the commentary of all the acharyas that has previously spoken about this verse. For example, Madhvacharya's commentary, Ramanujacharya's commentary, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. The author Srila Prabhupada, he translated all the different commentaries of the acharyas and put it in this purport. When you're reading this Bhagavatam, this version of the Bhagavatam, you're actually getting the realizations of all these great acharyas all in one place. So that's why it looks so big, but it is complete. So you'll be able to read it very quickly because you're coming from a very nice family. Yeah, and the reason we don't, it's a set, we don't break the set because every part of the Bhagavatam is part of Krishna's body. First 2 cantos are his feet, third, fourth his legs, 10th canto is this beautiful smiling face. That's why we don't break the set. It comes. So this is Krishna coming to your home, the whole part of Krishna. So we're trying to preserve this Vedic knowledge. Today we are giving it to everyone. We want every house to have a Srimad Bhagavatam. So please take a set home today. We only have limited copies available. So we have one reserved for you.
Okay.
And we don't sell them. We just ask for a donation. It costs us about $250 to print and ship. Anything over that goes as a donation. So we take a MasterCard, Visa. You can tap. You can pay by Zelle, Venmo. How much would you like to donate? Keep it under $1 million. We can't handle more than that.
Really? I think I'll do 251.
That's a good number. That's a good number. Very auspicious too. Okay. Here. I'm going to swipe it.
Yeah, swipe it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for making this wonderful contribution. And we also have regular classes and programs where we get together, we discuss Bhagavatam. It's an open conversation. You can ask questions. And we also have reading sessions where we read Bhagavatam on a regular basis. You can just join the call, just listen in. You can do your dishes if you like while you're listening or something. If you want, we could take your contact information. We can follow up with you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much and thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you for helping preserving Sanatana Dharma.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any questions? Are we ready to practice?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So one question, Mataji, if you have ever interacted with any specific Muslim person, and which is like the fanatic, obviously, but end up taking the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, whatever, and what was the hitting point which clicked his mind and changed the perception or whatever. So maybe if you can share any incidences that will help.
So firstly, as Prabhu was saying that I'm not clean or something, then if someone says I'm a Muslim, we usually put that book away and get another book and this is for you, just so that we honor the objection of that person, the Muslim person. And we say that this is not a religious text. It's a spiritual text. And the moment you say spiritual, it removes all the religious concepts. And we found Muslim people who accepted Srimad Bhagavatam as well when we went door to door. So it's all about love for God. Even they also believe in the same thing. And if you share some common principles, love for God, service for humanity, all these basic principles that you have, you can talk about those. And whatever Anupam Prabhu was mentioning, we are not here to object them, but at the same time we are here to acknowledge whatever they're saying and present in a straight way. Anything? Yes, Prabhu.
So sometimes while distributing to Indian person or Indian background person, so they say that they already have at their home or back home, they have ISKCON full set. So in that situation, how do we deal?
Yeah, many say that I have it at home back in India, but here we are saying that every respectable gentleman should have a full set of Bhagavatam in their home, not in their parents' home. And when we say that, it brings auspiciousness to you, it brings positive energy. From Vastu perspective, it is good. And usually people don't share their copies. From India, it is hard to get it here. It takes one full suitcase if they have to bring the books from India to here, 23 kgs. So we say we have it right here, you'll pay a lot more for shipping. And they keep their own copy, you can keep your own copy. And you should also say that you should have one in every room also, if possible.
Okay, thank you. Please join me in thanking once again Anupam Prabhu and Malini Mataji. As we head out to touch the pavement, may we remember everything that we've learned yesterday and today, and then come back with more questions, more realizations, and having tried our best, because as Malini Mataji mentioned today, that our part is to do the whole presentation till asking for donation, and the rest, after that, it's over to the other side of Krishna's notebook. So I hope that we can get many ticks on our side today as we present the books. Now we're going to divide into 4 groups, maybe about 15 devotees in each group, and I'd need some help to just orchestrate that. This is for our practice here. In the meantime, I'm also going to just announce who the team leads are when we head out at 11:30. So we have 5 team leads. I don't know if Atmadarshini can come or somebody. Yeah. Damayanti Devidasi is one of the team leads. Yeah, thank you. Jayanti Devidasi. Madan Gopinath Prabhu. Vishesh Prabhu. And Radhika Rasika Prabhu. So these are the brave souls who've taken the responsibility of organizing their troops, which means that they will be the ones, if you have any questions about how to orchestrate, where to find things, what do we do, how to troubleshoot, these are the people who will be responsible. We have lists with names, so they're going to be calling on devotees for their teams. Some important notes when we head out. Because there's about 15 devotees in each team, we are doing 5 locations, 15 devotees each, so there's 75, 80 of us today. It's important that we are aware of our environment. What that means is don't offer help if the distributor doesn't need help. So if someone's talking to somebody, having a conversation, don't start, oh, maybe they need this, maybe they need that book, give them the temple card or the lollipop, because it breaks the flow of the conversation. It's very important that we don't do that. The other thing is also notice if somebody's already been approached, don't approach the same person again. We want to leave everybody with a good impression, and these small little details, if we pay attention to our environment, it can go a long way. It can make us all have a nice experience and also leave others with a good impression. Also, please refrain from just handing out the books, like, without having a conversation, just giving out the books. As we've learned in our presentations, the most important part is to connect with the person when we're presenting, to connect with the person. So take time to first, maybe wave at them, as Vaisheshika Prabhu has taught us, a radar, or, compliment them. Establish a connection and then offer the book. Don't shove the book. Anything else? Malini Mataji, any other best practice? Okay. Anupam Prabhu, anything? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we have payment. We have Shopify, Square, and we'll also have credit cards. So those of you who have, who would like to just get Square installed on your phone before you head out, we can help you set up. It's very simple. Yeah. I think, and we also have, at every location, there will be devotees who are capable of assisting you in distributing digital books as well, and print books. We'll have 2 sets on each location. and we can deliver them to the people who want the sets. Okay? All right. So now let's please stand up, everybody. Thank you for your attention and nice questions. I'm going to ask Harai Pran and Bhagavad Pran Prabhu, the Pran brothers, to help us divide everybody into 15 groups of 4. I want 4 groups, please. And let's see how fast we can get this done. We'll have 2 groups here in the temple room. There's one group on that far side. We see the Bhagavatam, and another group here. This is the the hands-on practice. So you heard Malini Mataji and Anupam Prabhu. Now it's your turn to practice before we head out to touch the pavement, okay? We're going to do this till about 11:20. So you have half an hour. And after that, we'll come back here, take a picture, a proof that will stay with us that you were here on this day with all of you, and then we'll go out. Okay, is everybody ready? Everybody back there, ready? And I lost the people here now. Is everybody in the temple room ready? Okay, all right, get to action.
Hare Krishna. Can you come as close as possible? Come as close as possible to me. So I'm going to just point at you, and we're just going to listen, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1's in this corner, 2's in that corner, 3's in that corner, 4's in that corner. Got it? Okay. So just know where I'm pointing at you and count, okay? You are 1. 3. 4. Once I point at you, go to that corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? We're back to 1. Four. Good. 1, 2, 3, 3.